the front pages of the Jewish News and Jewish Chronicle are the Closer to Israel events, which was on Sunday. And very, very, very quickly, I had the biggest nightmare that a media person could have. I had some wonderful video footage. I interviewed top personalities. I had a wonderful story. And then I came home and my SD card was corrupt. And everything was lost. So, guys, if you're looking at Jewish Online Magazine website and you're thinking, why haven't you covered the Closer to Israel event? That's why.
Bad SD card. Well, tell us about it.
It could have been worse. You could have forgotten to turn the camera on. Then it would have been your fault all the way.
Guys, if you've had anything similar happening to you, text me on 0797 960 4346 or tweet at Jewish Online. A wonderful event though it was,
yes,
Lydia.
Was it very atmospheric?
It was, I would say Lord Nelson was looking down at Trafalgar Square, a party atmosphere. The community were united in praising Israel's achievements over the past 65 years. It was wonderful.
Well, every rally they have at Trafalgar Square is always quite an occasion. There's whenever there's a support for Israel event that goes on there.
Yes,
it's a wonderful time to be there.
So Michael, just moving on because we've got to get through 4 stories now very quickly. Yeah. You've got the Jewish Chronicle, and we discussed last week about the gay community, and it continues.
Yes, I find this one is a rather amusing headline on page 7 of the JC.
Yeah.
The title is "Shame Sex Marriage." They're taking good advantage of Sun journalism.
Yeah.
Nice catchy title. "Shame Sex Marriage. Rabbis clash over the bill." And this results after the head of the Federation Beit Din, Diane Lichtenstein, has lambasted the Board of Deputies for what he believes them to be sitting on the fence with regards to this the issue of gay marriage. So their interfaith advisor, it's rather interesting that it was the interfaith advisor. I have some views myself on interfaith issues, but so this interfaith advisor, Natan Levy, signed a letter, an interfaith letter from Christians, Jews and Muslims, pointing out, probably correctly, that it's not just the Christians, as perhaps the government might have us believe, that oppose gay marriage. So I haven't seen the contents exactly of the letter, but the JC hasn't quoted anything particularly objectionable from it. But this, the head of the Federation Beit Din has said that in its burning desire to represent all strands of Judaism, Mr. Weinman, that's the head of the Board of Deputies, winds up representing no one and has only brought shame to the Jewish community. So it's kind of odd. In representing everyone from the Jewish community, which is presumably in their remit, I can't see how he would have brought shame on them. Rather lack of guidance, perhaps, but that's hardly shame. But anyway, it's a great title. It's a great headline on a rather. It's a very interesting.
Have you got any thoughts on that at all, Lydia?
No, I think that Michael has said just about all there is to be said about it.
I like you.
Okay, Lydia, you've got a story again from the Jewish News.
Yes.
The gap between Israel rich and poor is still growing. And,
well, yes.
Gabi Blah from Meir Panim has got an article.
Yes, that's right. It's true. I go to Israel fairly regularly, and you don't see poor people littering the streets, but there's a lot of talk in the papers about this gap between the rich and poor. The point, I suppose, we should all make is that Israel is disturbed by this, unlike many other countries, is trying to do something. The point is there is more emphasis. They're not trying to sweep it under the carpet, and a lot of people don't know that my husband included, didn't know. For instance, there was a big scandal about supermarkets quite recently. Apparently, the government make a regulation loaf, which is full of vitamins and calcium and costs something like a shekel, you know. Right. And every supermarket, by law, is supposed to sell it, and they do. But there was a thing where they were putting it on the bottom shelves because they wanted people to buy the more expensive specialty bread. And my husband, having heard that in the news, went out and looked for and bought one. And he says it's lovely bread.
Okay.
And but you see, there's a
I know
definite
that,
attempt.
didn't
There you are. But there are certain things that you can buy at rock bottom prices that are supplied that are supposed to give you basic nutrition.
Particular gas.
Yeah,
and then
the point is there are a lot of very ageing Holocaust survivors who need a lot of support as well. And then Israel has been very, very careful about making sure that they are well taken care of. It's always been a priority.
It's a worldwide problem, isn't it, Michael?
Well, the
Yeah.
gap between rich and poor is,
Yes.
well, of course, it depends on your political philosophy whether that's a problem. The problem is how poor the poor are. So the gap is really not that significant. What's significant is what state the people
Whether they have
on
basic
the bottom
nutrition and education and that
well,
sort of thing.
presumably nowadays we can hope to give more than that to people who are on the wrong side of the gap.
I mean, there's some marvellous organisations like Mayor Panim that are obviously addressing these issues, but you feel that maybe government should be addressing these issues rather than charitable
Well, they
organisations.
are. As I said, you can see that they've been concerned by this for a long time, just in that example of the loaf of bread.
Okay.
But yeah, that's no reason not to work some more on it as well.
A lighter story, Michael, from the Jewish News.
Yes, this is regarding Alicia Keys, the R&B singer, who, despite calls from her to boycott a concert that she's set to give, she's going ahead with it. Right, interestingly enough, one of the calls for Alicia Keys not to give this concert comes from Alice Walker, who wrote The Colour Purple, which is a famous racial novel about slavery and racial tension in the South
Of the US.
So Alice Walker says you're putting yourself in danger, soul danger, by performing in an apartheid country. And
it's terrible to see somebody of the intelligence of Alice Walker
Calling Israel an apartheid state.
showing she doesn't understand even the basic concept of apartheid. It's ludicrous, and it's very disheartening that somebody as intelligent as that could be so abysmally badly fooled.
Well, of course, it could also be if you that's perhaps the more favourable of the interpretations of her comment. And another interpretation would be that she knows perfectly well what apartheid means, but nevertheless, for reasons of her own, insists on calling Israel apartheid.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she's not the only one who does that.
No.
We hear this.
Yes.
But we're off the lighter note. The lighter note is that if you're
We're
in
going to
Tel
get our
Aviv in
concert.
July, you're going to hear Alicia Keys.
Yeah.